And if you don't, then are you really in a
Mm,
relationship? I don't think so.
yeah. I I do think the biggest issue though is that people will know that it needs to be figured out, but they're expecting a certain outcome. And
Mhm.
so they don't even want to try to figure it out.
Yeah, I think that's real. Actually, super real. Because it requires work. And what I know about people is like when you do work or when you have to do work, people don't want to do work. They're like, I got home from work and I'm tired, I'm exhausted, or so and so wore me out because and it's a Monday and I don't have enough coffee. And the reality is like we choose what we work for and that
Mm.
pays our bills. And we choose what we want to work towards, and that's what our future is.
Ooh, that. We choose what we want to work towards, and that's what our future is. And that's when you do want a deeper connection, because I know you feel this way. I always want a deeper connection with my partner, always.
Mm-hmm.
And I always want like more communication and for them to feel more loved and them to feel more supported. It there's never going to be enough that I could give, right? Like I always feel like I could always have a deeper connection. And so I always want to do the work, but a lot of people get to the point where either they want to avoid it or they just want to get complacent or lazy, like you said, basically sit on the couch, but in a relationship sense.
Mm-hmm.
And and then they become roommates and they're like, I don't know why this happened. It's so
You know,
weird.
it's as a man who's gone from sitting on the couch to having to get back in shape mentally and commit to myself to be better so that way the person I want to be with can see that and like literally live it every single day.
Yeah.
Uh it's so much easier just to maintain growth versus try to start growth. It's like when you start in class and in school, like like we all know this now that we're older, you start off with an A. It's easier to maintain an A than try to overcome not doing the things that you had to have to, to get the A back.
Yeah.
I would way rather maintain the A.
Yeah. Absolutely. And once you like have those habits in place, it becomes so normal because that becomes your default setting.
Yeah.
Instead of sitting on the couch, like ignoring your partner, you're used to connecting with them and the hard conversations aren't so hard. The vulnerable conversations just flow.
They do. That's it's absolutely true. It's like this weird switch happens. For me personally, when I made the commitment to um, really focusing on myself and then the growth for me internally as a man to hold space for the person that I love with all my heart. What ended up happening is that work was really, really, really hard. Like, and some days it still is hard. I'm not gonna lie about that. Some days it's like smacks you in the face like a Monday morning without coffee, right? However,
Right.
but like the reality is like you move away from this is work to this is love. And I
Mm,
love doing these things. For my person, um, the the coolest thing is when I'm around her, I love acts of service more than ever before. I love building things for her. I love moving. I moved in this space where doing stuff is more important than giving something.
yes.
So I used to be a gift giver, um, as like one of my languages of love, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna just pay for this thing to be done. That's cool and all. Don't get me wrong, like that's cool. Gifts are always nice, but they don't last. They don't. Like the thing that works the most is like when you can break something down and then rebuild it, like reshape it, reform it, whatever it is. Like I mean, I put up 20 acres of perimeter fence, like basically and in doing so, I learned that I love doing stuff like that. And it was great because it wasn't for me. Like I didn't need it. It was for her, and it was a dream that she had that she had planted, and in that process, um, I fell in love with doing it. Not just with her, like I was like there's like at the time we weren't even talking. Like she wasn't even talking to me.
Mhm.
I would I just fell in love with doing the things. Like And now, like, we're talking about like different things that I love to do. I hate being inside now. And granted,
Hmm.
I'm an outside person in general, but I hate being inside. I don't want to sit around and watch TV. That is like, I got 5 months of that coming up when it's too cold outside to do anything outside. Although I did build the fence in -20-degree temperatures.
That's true. However, you fell in love with the process. And
Hmm.
that, like that part, I think is something that everyone can take into their life. They look at the work and they get so overwhelmed with what needs to be done that they don't even start. Well, whether it's like going to the gym, a relationship, a job, a project, but there's so much lessons and growth in loving the process. And I saw that happen for you. And I saw you be able to build things and learn new skills and abilities that not only helped out your relationship, but just helped out you as a person. And you went from like consuming a lot to creating a lot. And with that, you became a creator in your own relationship all the time and in your life. And like the gift giving got so cool where you're making like these really intricate welding pieces for her, which I mean, what you 6 months ago, 9 months ago, you didn't even weld. And now you're making like art pieces and saddle racks and all these things for her that further her dream, but also bridge your connection back together.
Yeah, it's a wild trip. The whole process has been crazy for me. Um, I think the biggest lesson learned when I was alone on top of the mountain in the middle of the winter, um, and
Ruminating.
uh, just just sitting here stewing on all the things that I'd done wrong and everything else, is that I think the biggest lesson that I learned is there's always room for change inside yourself, and you can't. Nobody else can change for you. Like you have to find a reason to change. Because I've had held this belief for a very long time, and that is that change doesn't come easy, and it doesn't come because it's just something you do. There has to be a
Mm,
catalyst for the change, and Desdemona Rusta was the catalyst for me in my change in my life. It really was. And she left me, and when she left, she told me what I had done wrong. And this was after, death by a million cuts from my side towards her, right? So there's not, for anybody who's listening to this is like, oh, I would never leave a man that doesn't. No, no, hold on, listen. This there's always two parts in a relationship. I'll never point out the flaws for her. I can only point out the flaws for me. And that's how we should all approach our relationships. Y- Um, from my perspective, I don't whatever you guys want to believe, I don't really care. But anyway, so I had to like literally sit back and sit with that. And I tried to date and try to do this thing, try to move on, couldn't do it because it was just sitting there. It's like this person, my soulmate, my twin flame, my everything, um, left me because I had these glaring holes that she could no longer fill.
mm,
And, as a man, you have like a choice. You can look at those as like pure failure, which failure is actually really good. Like when you fail, you can learn from things. Like you don't, well, you have to learn. Um, or I could quit. I could grow on
mm,
from the failure, or I could quit. I could just be like, whatever. I'm just gonna pass this trauma on to this next person. And I tried dating, and every woman that I ever spoke to, woman I went on a date with, like their best attributes or just one of Mona's lowest level attributes. They weren't even on the same vibration as her for me.
yeah.
And that's when I was like, okay, so something has to change. And I started manifesting things. I started writing down things. I started like pouring all of my energy into myself to become a man that I wanted to be, that she could be interested in being with. I didn't change for
Mm,
her. I changed for me because I had to. And like in the process, I'm, kind of lucky because I worked my ass off. Um, and now, we're talking and we're seeing each other. We're not dating or something. Definitely dating. um, uh, but and that was the biggest thing from the masculine side is like you have this moment, and a lot of men shy away from this, or they turn it into some sort of hurt and anger. And so what I did that at first too. Like I was so hurt that I was angry. Like I was like an angry, like a bear that had been shot. And I was
Mm,
just so angry and lashing out about stupid shit that doesn't matter. Like so
yeah,
stupid. I mean, you were there for part of that. Like,
yeah. Well, and I it's so interesting. So working with men, being friends with men, being in a male dominated career field for so long, I've seen this path happen for men over and over again. And we've talked so much about that of like that hero's journey. It's like men have to get to the depths of their own hell and they have to lose someone or something that they truly, truly care about to be able to look at themselves and self reflect and get vulnerable and break down the parts of themselves that don't serve themselves. Because it's not about like, hey, you're messed up and broken, but we all have things that aren't working for us. And
mhm.
I feel like women, because we're able to be more vulnerable and we talk to our friends, we're more open to growth and we're just willing to like okay constantly reinvent ourselves where a lot of men get stuck on hey this is just how I am and if she doesn't like it screw her and they'll just like I know quite a bit of men that will just burn through women up until they like lose the love of their life and there's so many men that have the one that got away so many men that have a
Oh yeah.
story like that that the woman does not like you burnt yourself down and are building yourself back up and she's in your life again but so many men don't get that back and so they like dedicate themselves to okay the next good one I won't let her go and so they're super great for the next woman which is great and all but it leaves this path of like hurt women and hurt individuals up until they're willing to look at themselves and do that work.
It's really weird when you look at it in that aspect, and I'm sure that this is there's a counter side of this because like the pendulum swings both ways when it's masculine and feminine, because
Absolutely.
you have a lot of really good men too who um have stopped showing up because they've been taken advantage of, and
Yes.
so you have this like you have all these people pointing fingers at each other. Like, it's your fault,
Hmm.
it's your fault, it's your fault. But nobody's fucking turning their fingers around and pointing back at themselves.
Mm,
And nobody's a very vague term, broad term, but like the vast majority of people do not point the finger at themselves. Like, hold on, wait, hold on. This great person came in your life. They were awesome. Yeah, they fucked up. You fucked up. What did you do? Don't worry about what they did. It's not your
hmm.
responsibility to take care of what they did. It's their responsibility to take ownership for what they did. And like
Yeah.
there's this piece of humanity right now where extreme ownership or accountability does not exist. And I mean,
Yeah.
I take that to the fullest extent that I possibly can. Like, there's pieces in my relationship that I'm like technically not really responsible for, but I played a factor in. So I want
Yeah.
to fix the factor. What was my factor behind that? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, absolutely, because we're always part of the solution, right? And there's things that I've done in partnerships where I've demanded something of my partner, but I'm not willing to give it to myself
Mhm.
or to give it to them and I don't realize until afterwards when you have that self-reflection moment. So it really is both right now you have a lot of men screaming about that the the feminine movement is ruining dating and then you have a lot of women talking about like men aren't safe and masculinity is dead now but the truth is like it's both sides.
Hmm. It is, and oh, it's so weird. They feed off each other. Like
Yeah,
they literally feed off of each other. Like the positive feeds off of each other, and the negative feeds off of each other. And
it
it's like,
does.
and when you have a positive person and a negative person, like it's so hard because like only one side will win. And the thing is about positivity and negativity is it's easier to be negative about everything. It's so easy to look at all the
Mhm.
flaws in the world. It's like, oh, there's one, there's one. It's so easy.
Yeah.
It, it sucks. Bad.
Well, and I say this to everyone, and I say it so often. The people in my circle have like started repeating it back to me. Those are some of my favorite moments. And I say the brain is meant to keep you safe, not happy. And
Yep.
that's something that I was told. 10 years ago, and I think about often because when we sit by ourselves in our house on social media, we just sit there and go through this like negative spiral. And we both done it to each other. And when you're in that negative spiral, I think one of the hardest things to do that you've done is like, tell me what you're grateful for. And I'm like, no, no, I don't want to. I want to like sit in my crap right now. And you're like, no, I'll wait. Tell me what you're thankful for. And I just want to hear it. And as soon as you start pulling that out, and it's like you get lifted out of the spiral and you're like, oh, okay, the world is not doom and gloom and horrible. And my partner doesn't completely suck. They simply made a few mistakes and I'm angry. And now I'm pointing out every single negative thing that's ever happened in my life and weaving them together.
It's really weird. Um, because my gratitude journey came from a guided journal on Mona's
Love that.
birthday. I was given the journal, and I was like, I've never written in a journal before. I don't know what to do. And it's like, read the first few pages, write down the like, what are you grateful for? The future state. What are you grateful for the future? Okay.
Hmm.
Those are the three things I'm grateful for that I don't have yet, that I'm going to have, or I have in my mind I've already stepped into. What would make today great? Three things. That
Mm.
sounds fun. I would love to write down the great things that would make today great. That's part of gratitude. Okay, cool. What's your manifestation? It has one. I write three because it's three,
Hmm.
three, and three, right? Whatever. Fuck it. Let's go. And so when I started that, it was really weird because like at first I felt like it was hocus pocus. It was just this weird Delulu fucking weird shit. And then about 3 weeks after I had started, my mindset had shifted, and you could probably tell everybody about that mindset shift because I was in a real fucking dark place.
Hmm.
But my mindset started shifting, and like every time I would get negative, or every time I would say something like that was bad, and I kind of have faltered the past couple days on this, but which is weird for me. But like I would fall into this negative piece, and I'd say, "Nope, I'm not fucking allowing doubt here. Here's my gratitudes." And as soon as
Yeah.
I started saying what my gratitudes were, like I'd pull myself out, and like when you were worried about a certain situation with your partner, I was like, tell doubt to fuck off out loud as loud as possible. And you're like sitting there so hesitant, like you
Uh,
wouldn't do it. You wouldn't do it. And I was like, fucking tell doubt to fuck off. It doesn't get to exist, it doesn't live in you.
right. And you know what's funny is like I remember that moment and I remember I was cleaning my garage and you're like, no, no, yeah, you're done with doubt. Say this out loud. And I'm like, it felt like vomit. I was like, why am I trying to like I can't do it. I'm trying to keep it down. And I'm like, why is this so hard? And it's I truly believe it's because doubt just takes over so easily in our brain and in our body. And like I love the Delulu and I love the woo woo. And still like that moment, it was so interesting how long it took me. And you're like, it's okay. I'll just wait here. It's cool. I got
Yeah.
a I got a while. Like we're good.
I'm
And
on
I
my
was
way.
like,
I was on my way to arena night to ride horses. I was just like, whatever, bro. Like, I'll just wait. Mona's not here yet either, so I'm just gonna wait. It's not a big deal.
you're like, go ahead, take your time. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah. And saying that and how it felt in my body, I was just like, oh, okay. And I could feel that energy shift in that movement. And even when we got off the phone and later that night and the whole evening, like it would pop off and come up. And I'm like, nope, you're not welcome here. No thanks, Dow. And then I'd move through it and continue to do what I was doing. That was organizing the garage and prepping food and stuff like that. And I ended up going to bed in a really good mood, just working through that. And it was so interesting how big it comes over you and how much it just overtakes you when you're not even paying attention.
It's so it's mind-boggling to me. It's so mind-boggling to me. Don't mind me. I had hella Tourette's right there. Um, um, but no, it's mind-boggling to me how easy it is to fall. And if you go back to what we were talking about when we went to the segued into this, it's literally that's what happens with relationships. So you
Oh,
have a moment of doubt, a moment of chaos, and I experienced this recently. And in like this moment where we're being attacked, our inner child's being attacked, or this thing that we think that we are is being attacked, right? We're not really
Mm-hmm.
being attacked. We're having a conversation. That's all we're doing. And what happens is we throw up fucking walls. We throw up walls left and right. My walls are freaking ultimatum walls, which are not good walls. You cannot do
Mm-hmm.
shit with an ultimatum wall. Like my response is I break down to the binary.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, if you can't do this for me, then I can't do that either.
Yep.
And I think it's actually a military thing. I don't think it's just a guy thing. I think that's a military thing.
It's gotta be. It's gotta be more prevalent in military individuals. I've seen it a lot. I do it too. And I get to the point where back up against the wall and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. And I'm like, well, if you want to do that for me, then it can't be in this partnership. And to me, what that does is it creates unsafety immediately. And the person's like, what do you mean? So you won't be in a relationship with me if this conflict comes up and if we have this disagreement and that kind of stuff when you're like, because what it feels like is that you're 1 foot out the door. And then all of a sudden the person's like, well, I don't know if I can continually deal with that. And I've done that and continuously done that and then wonder why my partner feels like unsteady and why they feel like I'm not in it is because I'll say stuff like that and not even realize what I'm doing when I say it.
The hard part is so for somebody like you and like me, like we do work, right? We are people of action. So our language of truth is actually not a language. It is the deeds that we do. So we like when somebody yells at me, calls me a name or whatever, I look at it like whatever, dude, fuck it. I don't give a shit. You just called me a name. I'm cool. Like I don't care. Like that thing doesn't matter to me. However,
Right.
for some people, words matter a lot.
Mm,
And so, for my partner, what I'm finding is that words matter, deeds matter more, but words impact the deeds. Like, are you doing the deed now because you feel bad, or are you doing the deed beforehand and your ultimatum is fake, or what is that? And so now you have like this corruption that seeps into the thing that you love
mm-hmm.
because of fear, because of that doubt that sits here on your shoulder. The what if monster is another term for it. Fuck the what if monster, right?
Right.
Like, what if all these negative things happen? Yeah, but what if all these great things happen?
Right. Well, we need to focus on the opposite what if monster
Yeah.
and like what if all the good happens rather than what if all the bad happens.
Hmm.
And I definitely understand that in a partnership because to me, yeah, I focus on actions and like, well, look at all these things I am doing. But the words do, they cut deep. And
Hmm.
especially when you're in an emotional place and I've said things that like I've had partners hold on to and I've heard that even recently like, "Hey, yeah, but you said some things that really really hurt me." And I'm like in my mind, I'm like, "Yeah, but like look what I'm still here and look at all these things that I've done." Yeah, and still cause a lot of pain with those words and unsafety. And
It's
so can't take that back.
no, you can't, and it takes an extra effort to overcome it. And it became very apparent to me recently, like that is like I mean, I don't know who taught it to me, but I really want to slap their hand. It's like if like the good idea fairy lands in my yard, I'm cutting that bitch's wings. Same thing. Whoever like taught me how about ultimatums. It's not like if you break it down, there's no love there. You are literally in flat fight mode. You're ready to fight enough so you can leave, and you're pushing away the person that needs you the most at that moment.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so like it's like this constant thing for hard work. And so you have to constantly be present. You've got to start to learn.
Mm,
And one thing I see a lot in people is, in my relationship, I'm the talker.
same.
Yeah, I'm the talker. She's a listener. But we in our relationship, we we end up trying to talk, and then we miss each other in communications at times, just like everybody else. And one of the things I learned, I went to this thing called aerial recovery, which is super awesome. They teach,
We love them.
yes, we love them. So like, they teach you to, the very first thing is they teach you to listen to understand before you listen to respond.
Mm. That if everyone could learn that, and that's something like bless my therapist that I've been working with for so long. He taught me that a long time ago, and that was new for me at the time. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, active listening, you're not forming your response as they're talking. You actually wait until they're done talking to form your response. And I was like, blew my mind. And now, like when men hear that, because men are fixers, right?
Yep.
And you guys, you love fixing things. I think it's like deep in the DNA. And so I've dealt with that so many times. I'm like, no, you're not listening. You're listening to get defensive or to like fix my problem. And actually, what I want you to do is sit in my storm with me just for a moment and not go into fix it mode and just hang out in the storm with me.
Yeah, I mean that's real. Like, um, I did that a couple times since recently, and it's weird because like I can't do anything.
Yeah.
I can't do anything. Uh, I am trying to provide safety and trying to provide a safe place and a safe conversation and all these things. And then sometimes that safety is just closing your mouth and making some fettuccine alfredo and heating up like a nice drink or making a drink from scratch and then handing it to them and tucking them in, your partner in, and just, I'll be back in a minute. I'm gonna make you some food. Let's get our stomachs right. Let's get our heads right. Let's talk. And really just like letting your partner just be. And that's both sides too.
Mhm.
Sometimes like, for me, words of affirmation are so big for me because I never got them growing up. Like nobody, it's so weird. Like, so I look back, nobody ever gave me credit for anything that I ever did.
Mm.
And it's like
Yeah.
so hard. And now, I own a very successful alcohol company, and I've been the number one project manager for the company that I work for full time. Like, I don't know, I've been there for 9 years. I was this number one PM for 7 years in a row. And yeah, it's cool to get those awards. And we've got a ton of awards at the Bearded Viking. And even now, I don't take those words of affirmation or confirmation. Like I don't. I hand them off to my team because even though I'm the founder and I do a lot of the work, I couldn't do it without them. So I want them to get the credit because I never got credit. And so
Mm.
in my life, the biggest things for me are hearing the kind words when I'm hurting.
Yeah.
And it's like it's weird for that part, right? And then my partner wants to hear words, and I can't say the right words when we're in these moments. And I think this is a lot of cases for men because we're like fixers, like you said, and we're saying things like, "Okay, so you wanted this to be purple. I picked up 7 colors of purple. Which one?" And none of them are right because you have a specific color of purple for the wall that you want. You're not upset that we did the deed. You're just like, let's go and take it back. And then, and the from the man's perspective, like, well, I don't even know if there's another color of purple. And
Yeah.
we might get to the store and you might just keep one of those pieces. And we talked about this today. It's not about the purple. It's not about the color. It's about I want to do this with you, and it's about I want to spend this time with you and letting the person you're with give you the opportunity to be with them and sit in whatever chaos, whether it's purple or it's like me being neurotic and building things, or like you when you're like spiraling and you're like and you just need somebody to just be like, you're JC motherfucking Valkyrie. Knock your shit off. Look at how great you are, right?
Right.
Or even then, not even saying that, but like, or just being like, Okay, tell me. And then just sit on the phone and let the other person talk.
Yeah. Think about how many conflicts would be solved not only in relationships but friendships and in the world if we did that, right? And that's the real example of like holding space. So many people say hold space and they're like, what do you mean? How do you hold space? It makes no sense. But that's the truth, right? Is sit with someone in it and just comfort them and be able to hold them. Sometimes it's physically, sometimes it's just metaphorically while they experience whatever they're going through. And be supportive without trying to change what they're feeling, right? And so, because a lot of times we want to, like, well, that's not true, or just do this and it would fix that. And like a lot of people know the solution. They're actually not looking for the solution. What they're looking for is support and reassurance,
Hmm.
and like if we approached everything like that in work and in friendships and in relationships, so many of the conflicts would just go. And
Well,
they just dissipate.
they would. It's so crazy. Like I mean, you and I have been in some fiery conversations,
Yeah.
super fiery conversations. Like it's interesting to watch the evolution of our friendship, and then also like how that translates out external, and how that really has affected things. Like because there's parts of me that have zero tolerance for boundaries with people. Like I have zero tolerance for people calling me at 8 p.m. to talk to me about bearded Viking shit. Sorry, I don't do that. That's my personal time. You know, you've got family members yourself that you take care of, but like just because I don't have family living with me doesn't mean that I don't have personal time.
Right.
So so misaligned expectations with those kind of things, but also like, to expand even further on that, to watch like you and the way that you've gone and hear the stories about how you're sitting with women who are expecting you to be like, no, it's all men's fault. And you're like, hold up, it's not all men's fault. We all have a piece to play in this. Sometimes it's 70-30, and sometimes it's 30-70. Sometimes it's 50-50. That it's crazy to watch the evolution of both of us to see how far we've already come by bouncing ideas off of each other and being completely just brother and sister in an aspect of like, all right, here's how a dude thinks. And you're like, I don't understand why dudes think that way. Well, we think this way because our lizard brain literally says, fly, I'm hungry, eat fly. That's why. Upset girlfriend. Why is she upset? Coworker pissed her off, stab coworker. Like,
It's men are so logical in that way, and that's definitely it's helped me so much in a relationship aspect, but really just like understanding the deeper intricacies of a man's brain to continuously bounce ideas off each other of like, hey, this is what I'm going through, because women, we're so much in the emotional and men are so much in the logical, and it's finding that balance because this whole masculine feminine energy exists in all of us all the time, right? And
hmm.
so understanding men and women's brains are different, they function differently, they think differently, and to be able to bridge that gap. And I have so many girlfriends that want to get together and be like, go through this, like, men are trash conversations. And I'm the person that's like, I hear you. And like right now, there is this rise of women that, again, are demanding safe men. And like, there's no masculine men. Yes. And you are, when a man is masculine, you're ripping them down and you're criticizing them and you're not speaking to their highest self. You're speaking to the mistakes that they've made and then expecting that he's going to keep going towards his highest self while you're reminding him of all the mistakes he's made. And I've totally done that in my life. I totally have done that to the men in my life. And when you sit back and you look at it and like, well, I want him to really show up for me, but I'm not fully showing up for him. So the problem is both of us. It's not the men in society and it's not the women in society. It's both. And right now they're not working together to
Hmm.
build these healthy relationships. They're simply like, you know what, I'm just going to do me. I'm going to focus on me. And that's great and all, but there is a form of like disassociation going on where it's social media is telling us like, oh, they're the problem. All of them,
Oh yeah.
they're the problem.
And once you click on their algorithm on just one video, it links you to another video and another video and another
Hmm.
video. Luckily I've been able to switch my algorithm up to start looking at like all these cool cooking things that I can do. So now I'm just not
Yes.
now I'm making butter and I'm turning butter into buttermilk and I'm turning that into
Yes.
like this and this. But before that, like I got caught in the that whole like men are alone in the world and we don't do this. That's not men's mental health. That's fucking pity parties and that's a victim mentality and I ain't got nothing for it.
Yeah.
And nothing for it. You've got two things that are currently happening. These two camps, right? So I'm gonna call it I'm gonna call one of them what I think it feels like. So that's gonna be the feminine side, and then I'm gonna tell you how I feel about the masculine side. Now I'll toss it back over to you for a second. So you've got the angry, badass bitch mob,
Hmm.
right? Where these women are a mixed bag of I want to find the perfect man for me, and he's got to have all these boxes checked, and on top of that, he needs to hold space for me, and he needs to be financially secure. Okay, cool. That's not how that works. So that's one side, right? And they've all been like there's people that are narcissists, there's people that are empaths, there's whatever. This is a huge giant bag.
Hmm.
And on the masculine side, you have the victim men.
Mm.
This man mentality of I have to do it alone, which is, I was living on top of a mountain alone, but my neighbors showed up. My friends drove all the way up from Utah to show up. I'm not doing this fucking thing alone. Like I
Yeah.
cannot, I can't do it alone. So men want to like, you've got to do it alone. Nobody's coming to save you. No, nobody's going to come to save you, men, if you act like a prick. Nobody's coming to save you if you don't hold space for your person and don't treat them like the person that you want to be with forever. You shouldn't be in a relationship with somebody who's not your best friend. I'm sorry, it's just not a thing. Like you should crave and desire to be with them at all times. And you don't have to. You should be strong enough to be away from them. You don't need to be clingy. However, you should crave to be with them. Their presence makes you smile. You think about them and your eyes smile from your cheeks, just like that freaking Ed Sheeran song. That's how
Mm.
you should be. But men don't do that. The bag of men that is here is a whole bunch of men who were hurt at some point in their childhood or who have been hurt by a woman who is a narcissist
Hmm.
or been used by a woman who only wanted them for money. So you have this mixed bag here and this mixed bag here, and you have two camps, and all they're doing is they're just throwing hate at each other. And if you click on any of the algorithms on social media, you could go down that fucking path and like you think that's how everything works. Personally, I think social media is great for connection, but it's also an amazing tool for the adversaries of the world to create division.
Yes, that, right? And not only division between men and women, but division through political parties and so many other things as well, right? And like when you look at it, is so many people benefit from division, right? When men and women are separated, so many people benefit because then you have two households. You have everyone's going to work. Everyone's in the system. Everyone is participating in the government. They're all part of society and they're not being interdependent at all. And there's a difference between codependence and interdependence.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a whole bunch of people that are, I can do it on my own, and they're not relying on each other, then really the system wins, right? And to me, the only way to really crack the system is to build up a community. And it doesn't even have to be super huge, but having like your person and then people around you that you help and serve and working together. And you have a lot of women now that are, I hear this a lot being in these spaces, a lot of women that are like, let's just have a commune that's all women. And I hear that, and for a moment, I'm like, oh, yeah, cute. And then I really think about it and I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. Because men and women balance each other. And I love women. And I also really like when you put men in the same spaces and the conversations and how it changes and shifts things. And there's a lot of women now that are, yeah, they're boss ass women, and they're not willing to like rely on others just like men aren't. They're not willing to even talk to their partner, like even
Hmm.
having an open conversation with him, right? And these same women are like, oh, well, he doesn't show up for me, but they're also not giving him an opportunity to. And how do you expect for your partner to be there for you, or literally anyone to be there for you, if you aren't allowing them to be? You're not calling, you're not texting, you're not like reaching out for help. You're just like, well, he won't care. And I hear that from these women like, oh, well, he doesn't care. I'm like, okay, have you given him the opportunity to? Well, yeah, this one time like a year ago I came to him and I'm like, try again. Right? Like
Yeah.
you don't get to go one time and he messes up, but explain to him how important it is and speak your truth. And I have seen so many men, when they hear you speak your truth and you stand in your power and you know what you deserve and you hold to that, that men will they'll either step up or they'll step out. And either way, it's a win, right?
Hmm.
Like if you're in a partnership where the other person isn't showing up and you tell them, like, hey, you're not showing up. This is what I need from you as a partner. How do we bridge that gap together? And they're not willing to. There's your answer right there, right? Like
Yeah.
then it's done.
Yeah. I mean, it's real. Like, even expanding further on that, when when you choose to step up as a man, like you are literally choosing the path of hard work. And here's the thing about all the great things in the entire world that have been built by man and women, by mankind, right? Is that none of those things were easy. You think electricity
Yeah,
was easy? No, it wasn't.
right.
Do you think that building the Great Pyramids was easy? No, absolutely not. That it's not a thing. Hold on a sec. I got dogs whining. Hold on a sec. Sorry. Had to
Dad voice. Yeah.
dad voice for the puppy. But so we you look at it and it's like this whole piece of like hard work and embracing, and like you're not going to be consistent at first. Like, do you know how to pour a 1 ounce shot freehand? You pour a million shots until you figure out what 1 ounce is. That's
Hmm.
how you do it. Like, you're not going to be consistent right out the gate. Like, I've been on this journey for almost a full year. It's been almost a full year since Mona left permanently from the house, right?
Hmm.
Um, and I've literally been doing this for almost a year, and I still have points where I regress. They're becoming further and further apart, which is great. Like, you could still be a bartender and start pouring shots of 1 ounce pours, and somebody distracts you for a minute, and you pour a 3 ounce pour. Right? That happens. Right? It does. Like, we're not perfect. I'm not trying to be perfect. You're not perfect. I know you're not trying to be perfect, but you have to work at it. So when you have these spaces for when you're having these conversations, you have to lean into being vulnerable. If
Hmm.
you lean into being vulnerable as a man and you open that door of, hey, listen, I'm not perfect and I don't know how to do this. I have received more like feedback from my person because I said, I don't know how to do this.
Hmm.
Because I don't know how to do things sometimes. I just don't. I mean, a lot of people look to us men and be like, you guys should know how to do everything. I don't know how to fucking do shit. I mean, I want to, but I don't.
Yeah. But there's so much strength in just admitting that you don't know, right? Like we had a
Hmm.
conversation that like got really intense at one point and you like took a breath and you're like, "Okay, I don't know how to do this right now." And you're like, "But I'm going to take a breath." And then you changed the subject and then you came back to it. But you literally said, "I don't know how to do this, but this friendship matters to me, so we're going to figure this out." And in that moment, I was just like instantly like softened by that piece of vulnerability because I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, we're human. We're not perfect as friends, and no one's perfect for their partner or anything like that. And it's literally just realizing like, okay, it's okay that you don't know how to do that. Dude, I was offered a job one time. This is so weird, but I was in Colorado and for my program manager job that I have since left, but at the time I was there and I was on stage giving a presentation and they asked me a question and I ended up saying like that I wasn't sure about that answer, but I could find that out and get it back to them. And they came up to me afterwards and I got offered a job. And I thought that was so interesting. And I was like, all right. I mean, there was quite a bit of pieces in the presentation that I didn't know. And he's like, yeah, but you were confident and you didn't like BS your way through. If you didn't know something, you just simply said you didn't know. And to me, that's confidence. And I can work on things you don't know, but I can't work on arrogance. And I
Oh
was
yeah.
like, oh, that. And that translates to relationships as well, right? Like I can work with someone that's like, hey, I'm not sure what to do here. But when someone like refuses to be corrected or refuses to express things,
Hmm.
I I don't know how to work with that.
It's very strange, that whole process, because I was that guy, so I could speak to that. Like I thought that I knew everything. I thought things were great. I thought this and I thought that, and I was like, look at me go. I'm a masculine man, and I'm this and I'm that. I'm a badass. I'm the bearded Viking, and I did all these things, and I've got my master's degree, and I built the building, and I did bleh, word vomit. None of it fucking matters if you don't have somebody to spend it with, somebody to be with when you get it all. Like it don't fucking matter. I live on top of a mountain, and amazing views with a horses. We're just gonna say horses. Two blonde ones that are, I don't know why they're over where they're at, but that's fine. That's beside the point. um, anyways, they're not home, but they'll be here soon enough. But like, you can't. I have all this stuff. I have accomplished all of these things in the world, and none of it fucking matters because the person that
Yes.
I love isn't here because I wasn't vulnerable and I couldn't express. I don't know how to do this. It's like the four words. That's it. Maybe five,
Yeah.
whatever. I don't know. I'm math. I'm low on crayons. But like the thing is like it's simple. I don't know how to do
Yeah.
this. Can you help me? And it took me, I don't know, when did we have that? When did I first say that to you? Till July.
Uh,
7 months. 7 months
yeah.
of hard work. As a
Mhm.
friend, not even as my partner, as a friend. Just as like, hey, I don't know how to fucking do this. And
Mhm.
and it reminds me of a quote that I wrote. I'm actually really happy about this quote. I wrote this as I was in the darkest times after I had just barely finished all of the Herculean tasks, if you will, which is an inside reference to what needed to be done,
Yeah.
in the middle of the wintertime. So hard work, struggles, heartache, and strife. These are the prerequisites of greatness. Once your perceived
Mm.
greatness is achieved, innovation, continued education, and hard work become your tradecraft.
Ooh.
Reflection on your journey becomes a standard, and growth becomes second nature. When all of these things are achieved, it's time to rinse and repeat the cycle, for greatness does not stay with the lazy, weak hearted, or the vain. Remember, work harder than everyone else, and when life gets hard, work harder than life.
Oof. That's beautiful. I can't believe that's the first time I've heard you say that. That's a really good one, and you need to put it on your wall because I love that.
I said that to another gentleman, in my work, and he actually was like, "Dude, you need to write memoirs." It was kind of interesting. I was like,
Yeah.
"That's cool. That's cool." I don't know about that. I'm just a dude who's going through it right now, and this is the words that came out. But he put it as, and I'll send this to you. But he put it, in old time writing, with a phoenix.
See,
So.
it's so interesting that you say that. Ugh, because as you were saying that, it's literally to me, and we talk about this often, is like I've been so attached to the Phoenix in the last couple years, and even my business going into coaching was called Operation Phoenix. And it's really this idea of like burning down your old self and the things that don't serve you. And being your true authentic self, being like reborn, right? And so it's as you were saying that, I was like, it's literally the phoenix, right? Is burning down those things that aren't for you anymore and rebuilding into something greater and bigger and reforging yourself through that.
Hmm. You know, I think I have a name for our podcast.
Let's hear it.
The Valkyrie and the Phoenix.
There you go.
I
I
mean,
like that.
it seems like it fits pretty good, even though I'm not really a Phoenix, but like, I kind of am, I guess. You're definitely JC motherfucking Valkyrie, and I don't know what I am. I'm just a dude doing dude stuff. So,
Yeah, just a dude doing dude stuff. Well, you're Justin, you're JT, and you're Vico, right?
yeah,
So
each of those has a personality among themselves. So,
that's so true. I definitely understand that because even to me, even taking on the name of like JC Valkyrie was this like rebirth of an entirely different version of me, of burning down this version that didn't suit me anymore, and like this survivor version of I can do it by myself, and integrating this version of myself that was more rooted in community and support and really collaboration rather than this individuality of like I'm going to do it all alone, all by myself, all in my ice castle that I built. And like that's great and all, but like you said, so many people get attached to that. I'm going to do it alone, and then they get there and they look around and they're like, okay, now what?
yeah. You know, there's a difference between doing something on your own and doing something alone. That's a big thing,
Mm,
right? A lot of
yeah,
people think that like you can heal on your own. That's fine. Totally good.
yeah,
But you cannot heal alone. You need to have people around you to support you. You need to have people who are there to champion your wins, to
yeah,
focus on you, like they have to be there. And if I was trying to heal on my own, that's fine, one thing, but there's no way that I could have got to where I'm at right now without the help of you and my buddy Nate and my buddy Ryan and my buddy Kevin and many, many people. Like, there's no way. There's no possible way for that I could do it. Kevin taught me the art of using my neurosis as a superpower to clean and do shit when I get in my head and like build things. And Nate taught me the consistency of just like find a focus and finish that task. Because I used to be
mhm,
like the ADD guy, and like there'd be like 75 different projects that weren't finished, and now there's only like one that's not finished, but I need a plumber to be here so I can finish it.
yeah,
And I'm starting my next project, like I have that focus, and then my good friend Ryan, he taught me, in the dark of holding yourself accountable for the words you say, even if you are um, angry. And like it's really interesting
mm,
because I used to have this thing that I would have this PTSD moment, and I would blank what I would say.
mm,
And so it's really, really hard to apologize for what you said when you don't know what you said.
yep,
So now when I'm in an argument, I focus on the words. Doesn't mean I say the right ones, but I still focus on what I'm saying. So that
yeah,
way, when I'm like, okay, hold on, like whoop, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like it's super hard. It's super hard for me, but yeah, I'm sure you probably have some experience with that.
Well, I mean, and we talked about that earlier, right? About how we say things we don't mean. And yeah, the PTSD definitely makes that more intense. And I think vets deal with that more, or anyone that's experienced PTSD, because when you're in that fight or flight, in that survival mode, in that lizard brain, it's like your any survival tactic just comes out to play, and it's full on warrior, and it doesn't matter who gets slaughtered in the process, right? Because
Hmm.
you're just trying to survive. And I actually really like that you said that so many of these people had pieces, right? Because that's the community aspect, right? Is you're not going to do it alone because you don't have all the answers, because you're actually not meant to.
Yep.
And when you surround yourself with really good people and you open up to them, then all of a sudden they start giving you pieces to your puzzle, and you're like, oh, this makes so much sense. Yeah, oh, growth, consistency, and accountability and worthiness. And there's so many of my friends, when I open up to them, they're like, oh, I got you. Here's this piece for you. And
Hmm.
it's so helpful. I don't want to do it alone. It's
No, dude,
exhausting.
I don't think you should do life alone. I think you should there's tasks you have to for sure, but like I don't think you should do life alone. And healing does not happen when you're alone. It doesn't. Healing internally doesn't happen when you're alone. Healing internally happens when somebody is there who's been through it and says, "Hey, I know this bridge is scary,
Mhm.
but these are the steps you need to take to cross it." And if I didn't have the men in my life and also you and also Mona, who's the catalyst for change in my life, I wouldn't be where I'm at. And I fucking love who I am. Like
Yeah.
95% of the time. Everybody has a 5% glitch, you know?
At
But
least, yeah.
at least, but I really love, I smile more now than I have ever smiled before. And I get excited over the silliest things, and my inner child is out playing all the fucking time. And
Oh.
like I have so much fun, like so much fun all the time. And even though I seem like I probably seem serious to a lot of people, I don't know, maybe I don't. Um, but like I smile more. Like I love adventures, and I love staying at home, and I love doing stuff around here now. And like that's stuff that I didn't love. It I lost that love before I had to change. And
Mhm.
so for men who are out there trying to figure out like what's up, I'd probably say number one, to start your journey, um, figure out what your little kid wants, your inner child. Figure out what your inner child wants. My inner child needed to have fun,
Mm.
a real fun. Like I literally sat. I was going. It was a rough patch for me for in the middle of July, but um, I when I was having the rough patch, I just invited my buddy over, Dusty, and he was teaching me how to play the guitar because I taught myself how to play the guitar as well this year. So like, he came over and I was like, "Let's go to the river, dude." And he's like, "Yeah, dude, let's go to the river." And we sat in the river and skipped rocks like we're fucking 14 or 12, and like we would grab big giant rocks and like our handfuls of rocks and throw them at sticks as they went by and see who could score. And if you hit the stick or whatever that went by, the other person had to take a swig of their beer. And like we did that for 5 hours, 6 hours. I skipped rocks for like 3 hours. Like literally sitting there, like my feet are like so waterlogged and everything else that it's crazy. And like it, that was my inner child. I would recommend for every man out there. Number one, find out why kids laugh so hard at bubbles. And then put that inside your soul. That's number one. And number two, listen to understand, not to respond. That's what I have. My two things, my two takeaways for this podcast. Which, by the way, I hope we do more of these.
Oh yeah. Oh, we're definitely going to, because these conversations are really going to change relationships, right? Because these are the things that are being talked about in the background, but people aren't hearing this kind of stuff on social media very often, right?
Mm-mm.
And especially from a man. And it really does change things when they hear another man talk about mental health, and to break down that stigma of mental health and vulnerability, especially as a vet. I hear so often from clients and friends that they're like, vulnerability is weakness. And I'm like, yeah, how is that working out in your relationship?
Nope.
Because she's probably fairly disconnected. And I tell people, like, through the door of vulnerability is a better relationship, better connection with your kids, better intimacy with your significant other. Like, everything is on the other side of vulnerability, past that difficult conversation that you're avoiding. And
The difficult conversation is like there's the crux of it all. It needs to happen, and you have to have it. When you have it, you can't go into that conversation like a lightning rod. Nope. I'm gonna say this as it sounds hilarious. You need to be like one of the Care Bears with a Care Bear stare full of hearts and shit. Like you gotta fucking say it. You gotta go in there with like nothing but love. You should enter difficult conversations, and I'm speaking to this because like I am actively learning how to do this. And
mm,
when I've done it right, that conversation is hard, but it's you leave it feeling so lifted, so relieved. You should walk into every conversation that's a difficult conversation with just nothing but I'm here to stand shoulder to shoulder with my partner and fight whatever the hell is in front of us, not stand in front of my partner and fight my partner.
Yes, right. It's me and you versus the problem, not me versus you.
Hmm. And the
Yeah.
more you practice it, the better off you are.
Yeah.
So,
And that's the truth, is like just repetition, right? Like more, what people see as hard conversations, they're just different, right? They're new conversations. And like you said, the more you do it, the more skilled you are at it. And then it just becomes normal. And all of a sudden you're having these vulnerable conversations all the time. And you become that power couple. You become that couple that can go through anything together and survive it, because you're going to talk about it and not fight each other on it.
hmm
And
you
that's
become
huge.
and talking about things that are important leads to actions. Actions lead to greatness. And greatness is the word great literally is in a frequency called gratitude, and gratitude is the second highest frequency outside of love there is in the world for a person to carry.